for a lot of hours. A lot of CNBC workers work a lot of hours. There's a lot of things in the Senate right now, like the act to amend executive law in relation to creating an office of special investigation within the office of the Attorney General.
Absolutely determined to work with you, the great leaders that are gathered around here, people around here, to find ways in the long term that we can make progress on some historic inequities.
There's an act to amend the civil rights law in relation to recording certain law enforcement activities in relation to medical attention for persons under arrest. These are all acts that were presented in June 8th, or bills, excuse me, bills or acts. So they're not bills or acts yet. These are amending acts or bills, or new acts and bills, and they're in different committees. Ow! There's an act to amend the public authorities law, the transportation law, and the vehicle traffic law in relation to renaming the Thomas E. Dewey Thruway to the Frederick Douglass Thruway. So that's interesting. Maybe we can call it the Thomas E. Dewey Frederick Douglass Thruway.
That's a powerful message.
What happened now? Why not?
Like the Vice President, I am here primarily to listen and to learn. We have all had different life experiences.
But I think I support that Frederick Douglass Thruway.
It wasn't just about Mr. Floyd's death. I think it was the killer that been attacked. I think all the names on that list is not that.
I'm grateful to all of you
I think
for being willing to participate.
A lot of people
today.
have,
I do think that
well, not relatives. There are people who are mixed, who are African American and European. I remember most of the country did not like slavery. So, and then there are just people who were forced to go to war. So I believe that violence and knocking down statues and not waiting for them to be removed is wrong. But also, how about let's start building statues that represent all of the leaders in different cities to stand along with civil rights, the Confederate things.
it's just not right.
I don't support them showing the Confederate flag. However, it's important to know what it looks like. You have to show it somewhere in a museum, maybe not at a public event, but at a museum. That's important. So it's important to remind us that there are people that are so evil that they will discriminate someone against the color of skin, the size of their nose, So I might discriminate against small nose people. I might think they're unattractive. Isn't that discrimination? Wouldn't it be wrong for me to sit all day at a microphone and verbally harass people all day, or to yell out in a cafeteria that someone's unattractive, or that someone's unattractive in personality or appearance? These are rude things that people can do. Ooh, this is scary. So don't do that, people. Let's try to be nice to people. I don't support the Confederacy. I just support knowing about the history. You have to know both sides of the history in order to know why it was so evil. Why was the Confederacy evil? If we take away all these objects, what if we forget? What if they try to enslave us again? What if they take away all these things and try to enslave us again? It's important to know about history, and it's just like when they try to take away African American homes, and people people in the NAACP not writing letters to the historical societies. Now is the time. I think now is the time to do it, to preserve the history of your places. But you do have to wait for them to take that. I don't like it. I don't want it there. But remember that you have to learn about history. And it's a good way to remember that slavery existed, that these people that joined the Confederacy may not have wanted to join the Confederacy. Well, excuse me, some people may not have wanted to join the Confederacy. I don't know why I said excuse me. No one's here with me, and I'm just talking to people who may be listening. But it's important to preserve your history. It's important to preserve history in order to be able to I can't say I want everything. If they remove everything about the Confederacy, how are we supposed to know that it existed? That it was a government that was planned by wealthy and plantation landowners in order to take over America. Slavery was an economy based on free labor, but not everyone in the South supported slavery, and not everyone in the Confederacy supported slavery. And that's why I have to believe that. I have to believe that there were more good people than bad people, and that these wealthy plantation owners destroyed the economy by stealing and kidnapping people from Africa. So like I said, instead of being violent and showing violence or showing anger, it's important to have our own museums and build our own things. And people do. White people, European Americans, Europeans, they love African Americans, and they love visiting. Most of them love visiting museums with African American artifacts. What I'm saying is, you shouldn't knock over statues. There's a way through the legal saying, can you move the statue? It's important to show history. It's important to show history. It's important not to use violence to restore history and to show history. So it would be an interesting thing for me to read about a Confederate Army general, which we had to do in school anyway. Should we take those out of the books? Should we not learn about them? And putting up a statue of the slaves that they enslaved, and talking about what they went through too. So it's really important. We need to start putting up these statues of African American, Black diasporian leaders, and preserving your history. So everyone, find out who owns your apartment, who lives in your apartment. They might be someone who doesn't have a criminal past. They might not have been very successful or had a lot of money, but if they were someone who was a good person, it's important to preserve the history. So I think my mom is historic for several different reasons. I have to talk to her about why I think she's historic, because she always helped me with my business ventures, with my business. Now is the time to do it, to start your own business. Maybe you can live with your parents, save money. It's good to live with them and babysit, save a lot of money for a home so you can help them. Some people live with their parents and grandparents in order to save money to purchase maybe a second home, and to save money for their nursing home, save money for your nursing home, save money for college, save money for private school. These are things that are important.
As I was, reading about this, we don't have a skin problem in this nation. We have a sin problem.
I don't believe yelling in a debate. I was on a debate team. We might raise our voice, but we're not really. We kind of talk.
It's a matter of a depraved and wicked heart.
And it helps. So, and do you know what helps?
Murder is sin.
I prayed to visit this summer the federal FDR's house. I think he was such a great president because he created all these programs that helped African Americans and hired out of African Americans' government. I don't know that. I didn't want to say that. What I do know is that the government hires a lot of African Americans, and that helped the African American and Black diaspora. You have to use a lot of peaceful ways to initiate change.
Is what has caused us to allow us to get to this point. So the point is,
so maybe there could be statues of different leaders, like President Barack Obama in DC, standing along the leaders, showing the history, showing all of the history. Showing all of the history. This is what I believe. Because then it just erases.
Because I know that only the atoning blood of Jesus can address our issues. I pray for the young people.
A lot of people have moved the statue and taken it down. I mean, I don't want to see it, but I'm just really scared that erasing history, burning books, burning statues is a really, really bad thing. It's almost, in the past, it leads to hiding the history of bad events. So if we know about it, that remember there's a Confederacy. But I thank God NASCAR, I don't want to say thank God, I'm really happy that NASCAR prevented people from showing the Confederate flag at an event. I think that's kind of scary. But in a museum, or like a public area, trying to teach people about the badness of slavery, I think that's what I'm trying to say. This is really interesting. So if you travel to YouTube, the White House is showing some people are blocked because you shouldn't threaten the president to kill the president. It's a lot of vocabulary that a lot of people use accidentally that might prevent them from getting jobs. So don't say you will kill the president or all these things. Right now it's really a good time to.
Let's give them a round of applause.
I would like to thank Governor Cuomo. It's so great that he, the reason why I met him, I met the mayor of Mount Vernon. I don't know about guilt or innocence, but I met the mayor of Mount Vernon at an NAACP event, and that's why it's a great organization, NAACP.org. Join. Even if you can't attend the meetings, try to join or donate. Sometimes the donations are not tax deductible. And I wondered why about that. I read the law and I still wonder why. Oh, so I see Mrs. Dukes there. So when I had a little different budget or more time, I was able to attend different events, and Mrs. Dukes speaks. She's a retired New York City teacher, so it's so important to. I wonder about what she thinks about erasing history. Because we have to remember that slavery exists. If they remove the statue and there's no African American statue, then they can say they never had a Confederacy. They never wanted to. They never destroyed us. They never gave us some type of programs to help us earn income. The good people of any culture. So it's nice to see Mrs. Dukes there. She dresses really nicely too. She always wears nice suits. It'd be great to have some type of suit fashion show
And I believe that we
in
all
Harlem. Wouldn't that be great?
humble ourselves, from the president, Congress, all
Thank
of our
you.
leaders. We need to
So
humble
Mrs.
ourselves and pray.
Dukes
Because
and
the
public
Bible
schools and
says
private
if
schools,
we would do that,
send your kids to
if we
the
would
school that
humble
you want
ourselves and
to.
pray,
As long as the charter school accepts a lot of African Americans who are qualified, a lot of African American students, if they grow up in a poor area, if their parents didn't go to college, it's great that they go to a charter school. Some people in the NAACP may disagree with me, but it's also important to fund public schools for people that can't afford to send their kids to private school, or for kids that aren't accepted into a charter school. It's really important to improve. So it's really important to be a teacher if you want to be a teacher.
Sir, I just want to.
Oh, this man said, praise God, he's talking about distinguished guests and bringing forth an honest truth, that he serves a God who makes no mistakes. Amen. And he's your God, and everyone tells him. Let's listen to this. This is important. It's so important.
You serve the God who is. You will know exactly what I'm talking about when I say that God makes no mistakes. You and President Trump are where you're supposed to be in this point in time. You are the men who God appointed. We had a president that came before you. He was the man that God appointed for that time. God knows what the world needs. And when he puts a man into the presidency, the vice presidency, he's establishing who he wants to be in charge of what's going to affect the entire world. And right now, God has placed you in that beautiful position. It's an honored position. It's a position where God allows us to do as he has said, and that is to pray for our leaders. And we need to pray for you. We need to pray for your success. We need to pray for you to be guided by him. My daughter gave me a song this morning, Lord, order my steps. And this is our prayer for you, that the Lord simply orders your steps. I am personally thankful when I get up in the morning and I know that there is a president and a vice president who honors this country and who honors me, who won't tell me that I'm black unless if I don't vote for him. But a man who looks upon me as a man, a human being. And when I say that, I am able to say thank you, sir, because I know I'm thankful. I'm thankful when I see a little girl who is able now to go to the school of her choice. I can say thank you, sir.
Isn't it great to be able to go to school of your choice? There are certain presidents. When I was born, I think I was born somewhere near when Ronald Reagan was president. And he has a library if you want to study about his economic plan. You might not agree with trickle-down economic theories that we learned in school. But I do believe that the president, all the presidents try to help people. If you're a good person, I think that you will be helped. And I think now is the time. During the first president, George H. Bush, he's an interesting president. And then the next president, President Bill Clinton, great president too, had a lot of programs for African Americans and really helped a lot of African Americans in his
That's very encouraging.
office.
Thank you so much, sir. We're happy that you're here. Amen. I'd like to now go to Mr. McAllister, sir, if you would.
Thank you very much. And first, I want to say thank you, Mr. Vice President, for being here today. This is actually the fourth time
I'll tell
I've
you
had an
more about
opportunity to
who's
interact
talking,
in regards
who's
to different
speaking.
types of events, talking about serving
tomorrow.
others. The first one was in 2009 in your home state of Indiana, where you had an opportunity to talk to young leaders that were trying to rise up and do more in civic work. Another time, you and I had an opportunity to tour a safe haven with Dr. Sandy Tennant in
If you
Chicago,
have a
Illinois.
television
It
with
was
a
a
USB
service
cord
community that helped
or
the
internet,
homeless to I had a chance to do that when
some
we
of
were
the
governor of Indiana.
televisions are able,
And
you're
just
able to
recently,
watch
before the
on
pandemic, you
YouTube.
and
It's
I
hard
had
to
a
see
chance
people's
interact
names
again in Philadelphia,
when you're watching.
talking to young African Americans about school choice and the richness.
So
of that.
it's
good
important to have school
continue
choice,
that
but
effort
what
to
about
serve
the
others.
people that don't have
Bishop,
parents
thank
that
you so
choose
much
a
for
good school,
hosting us here.
or there's
I
not
have
enough
been in this church for
good
years.
schools?
I remember your
And
work
it's
that
not
you've
bad
done for my
teachers.
kids
A lot
were
of students
wee little
might
and,
just be
knee-high to a grasshopper, if
thinking
you will. Now
about
they're going on 30.
paying their rent
Thank
if their
you for the work
parents
you've done in
have
this community.
some type of addiction.
To me, I've had an opportunity
But it's
to
so
interact with you over
important
the
to
years.
go to the library,
grace
to go
that
to
you have brought,
church.
whether you were
Churches
serving
have a lot
on
of
the board of
services.
Commonwealth Foundation, of which I serve as a director of Western Pennsylvania now, or the work that you've been doing in the U.S. Senate. Thank you so much, sir. It's humbling for me because we sit in the shadows of the old East Hill Shopping Center, where I used to ride my bike when I was growing up in Penn Hills, which is roughly 5 minutes away from the shopping center. Shopping center, literally you pass it on your way here. And it
So we'll
symbolizes
talk about
everything
more of the other cities and
from
different
what
conferences,
we need to fix in America,
different
the pain that
things.
people are
But it's important to go to the
experiencing
website and read
but
about
also our
what
opportunities to do
is
better.
important for your business.
When I was growing up at East Hill
But
Shopping
I
Center,
plan to interview business owners about, surviving, business stalkers, surviving theft, surviving violence in your business. I plan to talk to people about that across the nation and the rivers through intelligent luxury. It's a lot of fun owning your own business, being an entrepreneur, and being an entrepreneur as you work for a nonprofit or for-profit organization.
Understand in these courageous conversations now, a lot of that work is at the finish line for many African Americans. The funding of HBCUs has been a
Well,
fantastic
if we can
thing.
have historical markers of historical people throughout the towns is really important. But the historical societies need people to help make the signs, and they need donations.
You have the business skills necessary to make yourself
So that's
successful.
important.
Even the criminal justice reform stuff that we've been talking about over the recent months, that's fantastic work.
I think my
but
mom
that's
is a historic
after you
figure
paid your
because
debt
she
to
works
society
hard.
trying to put your life
She
back
was a good
together.
worker.
Now we're dealing with
She
this
was a
schism
minority,
that we didn't create.
she was a
The
good
schism
worker.
was created from generations
And I'll
long
talk to her
ago.
more about that. That's why I
But
think
right now
she's
we
a
do
good
have
person. She
a
helped
moral
me promote
obligation
nonprofits
and a historic
and
moment,
civil
not
rights in
just
school.
address
She purchased
that
books for
schism,
me. She let me
but to
help me with my
historically
library
and
card. She
finally
read
close
a
the
lot.
gap
She read
that we
to
see
me.
between blacks and whites.
And
That's where
then,
public
of course,
policy comes in, and that's what I'm so
she
thankful to be a part of this
helped me
conversation.
do my homework.
This is where the emergency
Like many
ESAs
parents
come in,
do.
where
I
people
feel
that
so
were
bad for
already
people who
behind
have
in
parents
school
that
that
are
became
not able to
further
help
behind
you
as a
for
result
any
of the
reason.
pandemic have an opportunity to catch up, and then eventually have an opportunity
But
to
remember, you can
match
start your
their
own
American
company, and the fashion button in New York
counterparts
City
schools so that they can
is
take
an important
advantage
thing.
of
Also
the
attending
programs that you put in place right
FIT is a Cooney school.
We can look at our
It's a
HBCUs
City of
and
New York
make them
school,
greater hubs of technology
SUNY
and
school.
national security.
Attending
so that
SUNY Bennington
that
is
historic
important. Taking art
contributions that they've given
classes.
to this
If
country
you are not
during
able
times
to
even
get
of
to a fashion
segregation,
school,
they can now contribute to us
and
in the
remember,
21st
talk to people,
century.
visit the school to see if you
We
are
can
able
also
to
look at criminal justice reform, but we
meet
have to look at
whoever
it and
you need to
say,
meet at the
let's
school.
not look at the tail end of the school to prison pipeline.
It's so great
Let's go to the
about
other end and
FIT.
turn off the valve so
There
we can
was a
stop
woman
having kids come
who's
through the school to
white
prison
and
pipeline.
black, or European
That's
American
where
or African
education
American,
reform comes into
and she
play.
was the president.
That's also where appropriate
And that's where
police reform can come into play.
how I meet
Too
people,
often
going
our kids
to
are
these events for
over-policed even in
alumni
their own
of
schools,
colleges.
let alone with tactics such as warrantless searches and no-knock searches, which I
I
do
meet people.
believe
I'm
your
not a
colleague,
recluse.
Senator Rand Paul, has
Usually y'all don't
introduced
see me
legislation
because I'm
to
in
go
New York
after
City,
no-knock
traveling,
warrants,
DC,
things that are
traveling throughout the
disproportionately
nation,
used against the African American.
trying to learn
Mr. Vice President, your
about
administration has
how
taken
to
some
be a
bold
good
steps that we
person,
did not see.
to continue to be
You're
a good
doubling the
person.
funding for the DC voucher program at a time when the first African American president was attacking that program. It's
So remember
very,
about the
very
voucher
appreciative
program.
that you're
Not
doing these
every,
types of things.
you have to really,
But
if
as
you
we
are a
move
parent
forward, we
talking
start
about
public
vouchers,
policy, it's
maybe I'll
very,
talk
very
to some
important for us
people
to understand.
about it.
Everybody's talking about law and order. and
Charter
we need
schools.
law. We
It's
can't have
important
chaos
that the
in there.
charter school is a good school
But
and
what
that they
people are
background
asking
check
for,
the
what
employees
young
of the
people are
charter
looking
school,
for,
and
what
it's
Americans
important
are
that they're
craving
learning
for,
what they're
why they're
supposed to
in so
learn.
much
You
pain,
don't want to put your
because
child
they want
in
constitutional
let's say a school that has, and then they don't pass or they're not able to get to college because the school isn't a good charter school. So not all charter schools are good. However, it's important to import public schools. I thought the Baptist churches should start their private schools. It's as simple as getting a charter and creating a curriculum that's approved by the state and starting your own hospital. It's as simple as getting a charter. So start your own schools. It's a thing for assimilation versus separation.
Thank you for hosting. Thank you all
And that's
for being
what it's
courageous
about.
enough to
It's very
walk the
easy.
walk and not just talk the talk.
It may not work, but at least
Thank you, Lady. That's great. Thank you for that.
you did something. So
And
don't worry about it
it's
not
gonna take all
working.
of us
Worry about starting
to make
a
all of these
business,
things
nonprofit,
come to
hospital.
pass. So
It's
thank
all
you
about getting a
for sharing
charter.
your heart
It's
and
really
for your
easy,
contribution.
and if you have the money.
We
And
really
that's why it's important to
All right,
have your own
Pastor
business.
Owens.
And the
So
church is a business.
Thank you so
It's a
much.
business. It's a nonprofit organization
Well, thank you for
where you need to make money in
Vice
order to
President,
pay
thank you very
for
much for taking time
products
out
and
of your busy
services
schedule
that the
to
church
come and
needs.
listen. I think the
In
listening
order
part
to
is
have
very
events, in order
important.
to get to church, in
Looking
order
forward
to
to
serve
seeing
food at the church,
seeing what
in
you
order
do
to have
after.
after school programs at the
Bishop,
church.
thank you for hosting
These are
this.
all, that's why it's important to study business.
My first time here. I heard a lot about your church, so it's great to be here. And I'm glad to hear that Terminator 2 is one of your favorite movies. I'm a big Jason Bourne fan.
So
I'm sorry.
Mr. Pence has,
Jason Bourne is
you
one
know
of my
what?
favorite shows. The whole trilogy is one of my
I
favorites.
think I'm not.
Lines from there all day, but I'm not going to do that. Senator,
It's
thank you very much.
interesting.
Really appreciate it.
This is
And
really
appreciate
interesting.
you taking time out
So I
of
have to
your
go
schedule
now.
to join us.
But
So you asked
y'all
to
can
share
watch
what's
on
our heart.
YouTube.
I'm going to do exactly that.
Thank you, Michael
It's
Jordan,
a
and
mix
my
of
mom.
emotions.
My mom.
But the one that's at the top is I'm
My
tired.
mom's my mom. Michael Jordan's my father, I think. And that's about that. So have a nice weekend. Remember to watch Book TV.
I grew up in the Hill
Look up the
District, which
Hornets
at that
games. Try to
time
purchase tickets to the
was
game when
one
you
of
go
the
to Hornets
poorest
game.
neighborhoods in
Have great food
God
there
bless me.
at the
I'm
stadium.
not going to go into it.
And
anymore.
maybe,
God
I'm
has
sure there's
truly
good
blessed
food.
me, and everything that I
And
accomplished
also the
was because of
Mercedes-Benz
God. Now,
MBUSN,
anything I
Robert
did,
Johnson owns
anything
a Mercedes-Benz in
that I was able
Huntsville.
to achieve,
Maybe you can
God
purchase a
took me from the
Mercedes-Benz if
projects
it's
of the Hill
not
District
sold out.
and really set me on a path to success.
And Magic Johnson owns Sodak.
But even where I am
Sodexo
now,
Johnson.
I'm still tired because of all the racism I see. I'm tired that people still do not acknowledge that.
I don't have any
systemic
more space on my
racism
front page
and they ignore
right now.
the billions of
Folks,
voices
however,
that
if you
are
pay,
that
I may
exist.
remove something.
And they say, no, that's not true.
Alright, goodbye.
Because of the comfort of
See
your
y'all maybe next week. So remember my shows
tired
maybe
because
daily. I
my
tape
children
on
were in
Facebook Live.
middle school.
Thank you, Mom.
They saw